welcome back to my channel. I have an Angraecum Sesquipedale that I got from the Orchid show. It's got one spike right now. I would love to see the flower in bloom, but at this time I would rather um, I want to transplant it, and I know the spike might fall out, but I'm going to take this chance. You know why? Because angraecums like to do not take too well to being transplanted. Now this plant did come all wrapped up in sphagnum moss because it came from Taiwan, and because of some agricultural how the import restrictions are with the agriculture department, they can't bring it in any kind of a media, so they bring it wrapped up in sphagnum moss. That's what I was told. So I'm going to have to take it out. I know it is very fussy. This doesn't, as far as I know, I read it up that it does not take too well to transplant. It goes fuzzy and refuses to flower. But I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to plant it. Now this one is also known as the Darwin's orchid, or even it's also known as a Christmas orchid because Charles Darwin predicted that the flowers of this orchid have this long spur, so it needs to have one of those pollinators with the long um, tongue or whatever to pollinate it. Now this is like in the Vandaceous variety with the same long leaves. It needs as much light as possible. Um, Water sparingly, like like the Vandas. That it dry out. It does not need a dry growth period because they do grow continuously, but they do need to we water it and give it some time, few days to let the media dry out. The flowers are usually like a white waxy flowers that turn yellowish and turn like more darker or orangish color, and then they fall out. They are from Madagascar, this particular one, and so it's the height's about 400 500 feet above sea level. Now the leaves are like a dark greenish. That means it's doing really good. Now, this is the spur of the flower that really gets really long, and that's where the nectar is. And the pollinator has to have a long beak or whatever, tongue or whatever, to get all the way down in and get the nectar from the bottom. So he predicted about 150 years ago or something that there should be such a little pollinator, and it was not proven till about few years later after his death that somebody did find the moth or the little insect that has to come to pollinate. Now I'm going to transplant this into a more suitable media with orchid bark, so that with a little bit of a perlite, this is orchid bark with a little perlite and charcoal, just to give some airiness to the media. I'm going to put in a slightly bigger pot so that it'll accommodate it for the next few years, and that way I don't have to keep transplanting every year because they are notorious. They don't like being transplanted. They shy away from putting out new. Now this is the aerial roots of the plant. They are really woody. They're brown and they are woody. It's very hard. The other root that grows into the media are more pliable, more softer. This way they attach it to the roots of the plant or the tree trunks wherever they grow in nature. And I'm going to take out all the sphagnum moss. This way it does not stay moist at the root system because this plant does like to dry out a little bit. And I'm a heavy water, and my hand is like I water too much, and I know the sphagnum moss will stay moist and the root of the plant might get rotten because I do water too much. And so I'm gonna try to take it all out. I don't see any insects or any creepy crawlies in there because these plants just came from Taiwan, and the people, when they must have taken it out, when they wrapped it up in the sphagnum moss, they must have made sure that there's nothing in the roots, that is all nice and clean. But anyway, I'm going to remove all the sphagnum moss and make sure that there's nothing. I might as well spray some hydrogen peroxide while I'm at it anyway, while I'm doing it. Not that it's necessary. They're all nice and plump. The roots are nice and green and healthy looking. But I'll be right back after I remove everything and give it a good clean, and I'll just do the transplant. So now I mixed up all the bark media with the perlite and the charcoal, and I put some peanuts, packing peanuts at the bottom of the pot, and this pot has like a cone on it for extra aeration. I did not cut any roots or anything. I'm just going to place the plant as is in the pot. And since it's a monopodial orchid, I'm just going to put it in the middle. So that looks good. Just gonna. This is a medium-sized orchid bark and perlite. And this bark is supposed to be long-lasting. It should stay. The plant should be happy in this medium for 4 to 5 years at least. And this way I don't have to repot it, because like I said, this plant does not like to be repotted. That's what everybody says. So just tap it down, make sure that yes. That's about it. So hope to keep my fingers crossed. Hope it won't die on me. I think it will put too much. Get some of them out. It's a big gap in there, so I push the media in. Hope it won't take a shock due to the transplant, and it's okay. I would love to see it bloom, and once it blooms I will update and I'll let you know how the plant did to the transplant. So this was a beautiful white white flower. It's almost like waxy. I saw it in bloom at the orchid show. I didn't have a chance to get close because it was like in the middle of the display and up on top of I could have like a little display. So it was up top, so I couldn't get close to it. So somebody said it has a fragrance. I heard somebody saying that do not smell it the first few days. It's really bad, smells bad. But after a few days it gets like almost like a jasmine-y kind of fragrance. So I don't know what it is. I just hope I just have to get to see it bloom, because I can't wait to see the flowers. And like I said, I will update you once it blooms and let you know if it survived the transplant or if it went into state of shock. So fingers crossed. my Angraecum Sesquipedale, also known as the Darwin's orchid, because it is named after Charles Darwin, who predicted that this particular moth has to come with this long tongue to get the nectar out of the spur of the orchid. Looks good so far, so next step is to see how it survives. Thank you once again for watching. I'll keep you updated. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.